Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Aging and Spirituality podcast. I'm Chris Jensen.
I'm Kathy Lee Taylor.
We are so happy you're joining us. We try to share from our hearts, and hopefully that it will help you and help you have a better life. So this week, we're going to talk about how to not just survive caregiving, but to thrive and enjoy it.
Wow.
That may not sound like
It does. No, it does not. Not the first thing I think when I think about caregiving for
right. I know.
aging parents.
But, as we age, okay, we often find ourselves with older parents, a spouse, or adult children, somebody who needs help that we have to help or want to help. And a Washington Post article recently showed that 54% of people over 50 are caregivers of some sort.
Wow, I didn't know it was that big.
Yeah, it's huge. A couple of weeks ago in our podcast, we talked about the importance of selfless service to not just to the people that we're serving, but to our own well-being. And this week, we're going to be sharing how to go from the burden and burnout to joy of being a caregiver, because there's a shift we can make. To start out with being a caregiver. So, okay, imagine this. Have you ever found yourself thrust into a job that you would never have applied for and for which you didn't have any background or training? Probably wouldn't do that, but maybe you felt you were unsuited in many ways, and maybe you're not allowed to quit or retire.
When I was younger, I did for sure.
The scenario might be the stuff of most people's nightmares, right? I mean, something you have no training for, you're not qualified for, and you can't get out of. But for millions of Americans, it is a reality of life as a caregiver.
Yeah, nobody trains you for that.
Nobody trains you for that. Nobody does. So there are just a few basic strategies that I want to share that I think can be helpful as you go through your day-to-day life. One is learn how to redirect your thoughts. One of your biggest enemies as a caregiver lurks inside your own head. Negative thoughts and overwhelming emotions can fire up many times during the day, undermining your best intentions to be your best self for your loved one. Anxiety, sadness, doubt, anger, exhaustion, the feelings of hopelessness can just spiral out of control if you're not vigilant. My daughter, taking care of her dad, my ex, what I think of as my starter husband. In any case,
the beginner one,
right? And so he has early dementia, and she's being very kind. I mean, they bought a house where he has a unit there himself, but he's in there with them quite a bit. But he's difficult. He doesn't want to shower, and she has a young baby, and sometimes she just gets so frustrated she can't help herself, and then she feels guilty.
Yeah, of course.
So it's a vicious cycle. So what you've got to do is, and this is normal, these emotions are normal. Every caregiver is going to feel them, So you want to change and redirect your thoughts. In yoga, we call this mental equivalence, changing our mental equivalence. So a mental equivalent is something that you habitually think and feel. And what happens is when you habitually think and feel something, it becomes your life experience. So if you think you're going to fail or be fatigued or frustrated, that's what's going to happen. But if you can change your thoughts to seeing yourself being energized, successful, loving, and enjoying the experience, then that's what you're going to create. It's all about the mental equivalent. It's all about the energy and focus you're putting in. Like we don't know that we are creating our thoughts and feelings all the time in our life's experience. A lot of it's subconscious, but when we're very aware of it, we can change it. We can change it. And so I want to share this. I put this point first because I think if we get this point, then everything else will fall in line more easily. I mean, there are lots of other things to do, but this is a very, very important one. And so it's important to review your mental equivalents, what you're thinking and feeling about yourself as the caregiver, about the person you're taking care of, about the process. And then the whole technique for changing mental equivalents. So we become aware of it. And let's say, we'll take my daughter, for example. Let's say she's feeling guilty and angry, because she had this reaction, and frustrated because she doesn't know how to change the situation. And so what she's got to do is put her thoughts and energy on what she would rather have instead. So what would you like to have instead of this emotion? I would like to be peaceful, calm, uplifting, and do and say something that's helpful.
Okay, I have to ask you a question
Right.
right now, because I can feel this in me, and I didn't have to do this because I moved away from family, and my dad died young. My mom was far,
Mm.
far away. So I didn't have to do this. But just listening to you, I'd be pissed. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
but so you're not dealing with that feeling of being angry, you're just ignoring it, and
No,
then
no, 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 no. This is not anything to do with ignoring feelings.
okay,
This is not, no, that's not what I'm talking about at all.
okay,
What I'm talking about is changing the way you think and feel about a situation.
okay.
And, you have to recognize it first. You have to see what the mental equivalent is first, which is the anger or the fear or the guilt.
Okay.
You recognize that, and then you think, what would I rather have instead?
Yeah, no, I don't want to feel this way. What can I
Right.
do?
What
Let it go?
feelings would I like to have instead? What thoughts would I like to have instead? Put
Gotcha.
your attention on that, because as the more you think angry, guilty, fearful, more you think those things, the more energy you put into those things, into the negative. So, you recognize you've got this and you accept that it's normal to have these kind of feelings. But then you say, what would I rather have instead?
Okay, that makes
And
sense.
you try to put your energy and awareness into what you would rather have instead, and it will change the situation. It will change
That's a
this.
really important point, what you just said right there. You won't, once you let go of the anger and you start focusing on how you want to feel, how it looks to you and how you respond to that situation is going to be completely different.
Exactly. And how the other person responds to it will be different.
Right. They'll
Once,
they'll feel you being different too.
right, right. So once you put your awareness there, and your energy, and it takes a little bit of work, because you have to recognize and it's not just the thought or feeling you have occasionally. You want to go to what you're habitually thinking and feeling,
Yeah.
what's really, really bugging you. And
Right.
most people, that's not too hard to get to, but
Got it.
but often it is, because you don't want to have those feelings. So you don't want to be
Yeah.
aware
You
of
want
them.
you want to deny it.
Right. So you don't want to deny it. You want to be aware of it and then say, what would I rather have instead in this situation? And then you find, as you put your attention on what you would rather have, that the situation starts to change. And so one of the things that I'm going to suggest you do, which we do in yoga, is we visualize very clearly the situation we want to have.
Mm.
And we never say, I don't want to feel angry about this. We say, looking at this situation, I see this person responding to me. I see myself responding with love, and, that kind of thing. And there's no negatives. You never say, I don't want this. You say, this is what I want.
So
Like,
it occurs to me that what you're saying is so applicable to so many situations in life, because say you're really angry at somebody and you want to hurt them,
mm,
like I want to
yeah,
punch you in the head or whatever it is,
yeah.
that feeling of wanting to hurt somebody, that violent kind of reaction is going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt them. And that's
Absolutely.
really important to acknowledge too, because that's a very good motivation to want to learn a new way to respond.
Yep.
It's a big part of yoga. I used that one so many times during my divorce. When I got divorced, the main principle I said was, no matter what happens between him and I from here on in, my child comes first. So whenever an argument came up, a difference of opinion came up, whatever it was, I was able to put it aside and not get angry and not, want some kind of retribution or whatever, revenge or whatever, right? I was able to allow love to move into that space and go, I want to feel like that other person, human being, has their point of view and I have my point of view, and this is how I want to feel about myself, because it was horrible to carry around that kind of energy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is. And you can work on it. You can work on this change in equivalence, and you'll find it so freeing.
Yeah. Very transforming too, right? Very, very, very transforming.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like living a whole different life.
Yeah. Well, you become a whole different person.
You do. You do. And it affects the people you're with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That energy shift makes a difference.
Yeah. And I mean, just a point of reference for that, I am 33 years out of a divorce. We still work together. We're still friends. And that's because I put a lot of effort into not seeking revenge, being hurtful, being angry, wanting to blame somebody else for what was going on in my life. I took full responsibility for what was going on in my life. And that was important, And when it comes to caregiving, it can feel like it's been hoisted upon you. Like, because I
like it's put upon you and you have nothing, you can't do anything about it.
Especially women, right? Because women are often the first one they look at. Oh, mom or dad needs care. Oldest daughter, it's the first target, and that doesn't necessarily feel good or feel like it's supposed to be part of your past. So this can be a big deal for people.
Yeah. It can be a big deal for people.
Yeah.
So that's really, I think, I'm going to go over some other points that are very important, but if you only got one thing out of today, that would be the thing I'd love you to get.
Very valuable.
So the next point I do have is rely on family and friends. Sometimes, they can carry you through the worst times of a caregiving journey. And, during a loved one's long illness, it can be embarrassing to feel as if you're always receiving things and you're unable to pay the kindnesses, but you need them. And most importantly, to give you a sense of not being entirely alone dealing with the situation. Friends who are not involved with your daily struggle can come up with great insights that you may never have thought of. And, friends can listen to you cry or make you laugh, and neighbors can bring food and sit with you. I mean, any of those things are helpful.
Yeah, support, a network.
Support. Yeah, that support is really important. And practice saying yes whenever someone offers to help you.
That was one of my hardest lessons.
It's a hard lesson, because those of us who are, trying to be really independent and whatever, but we all need others. We all need other people, and so you want to practice it. Practice saying yes, and be grateful.
Yeah.
Express the gratitude. That was such an important thing. I know we mentioned it in different points, gratitude, but it's so important. Someone offers to help you, you want to say yes, be open to receiving that, just like you're helping your loved one that you're the caregiver for.
Yeah.
They're receiving from you. You have to receive too, and express your gratitude for it to that person, to yourself. I mean, just be grateful for the fact that you can help this person that you're the caregiver for. Be grateful that you have the opportunity to give of yourself in that way. When I said it can shift to some joy, when you are practicing selfless service, which means you're doing it with no expectation of reward, doing it just to help others, there's an inner joy that comes through, because the inner self, that's who it is. It's without the ego. And so that will make a difference too. That the practice of saying yes to whatever help comes your way and being grateful for it will help to soften the ego and help you to be more open and receptive.
Yeah.
Very, very big issue too. Another thing that can help you in this process is to do your homework. Fear and uncertainty are constant companions for any caregiver. And the feeling that you have no control over your situation, that you don't know what's going to happen next, and it just can make you feel very uncomfortable. And many of us have the fear of not being able to continue to care for a loved one as things get worse in the home, and then you worry about finances. It's
Right.
expensive to put them somewhere. And that's, people feel guilty about that too. So you have a plan, even if you scrap this plan, just knowing that you've done the research and you have a plan and that you can revise it later can help calm a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, take some of the pressure off.
It takes the pressure off. It's like a letting the valve off, the pressure cooker.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
there are lots of organizations, AARP, they do regular articles with all kinds of information for caregivers to help caregivers, and and they do all kinds of support, and there's support groups, and those things are very valuable. They're very helpful. They'll take a little bit of pressure off, and force yourself to take time off. It is well known that many caregivers die before their loved ones
Oh, wow.
because, yeah,
Yeah,
the
right?
yeah, it's true.
I know
The
that.
relentless, all-consuming nature of the work takes its toll, both physically and mentally. So
Mm.
take some time off. You've got to, and if it's someone who needs 24/7 care, then you've got to find a way to get somebody else. Like you know, a lot of healthcare organizations will help provide some part-time help. You've got,
That makes me think that taking some time away is not just going and having a vacation or having a weekend for yourself. It's also, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the ability to be able to step away and leave it behind, not
yes,
carry it with you,
right,
right?
right.
Like it makes me think about this lady. I read her book. She was a hospice nurse.
Mhm.
And I thought, oh my God, how could you ever do that and be happy? Because
Mhm.
every dang day
And
not,
somebody, yeah.
yeah, you're taking care of somebody who's on their way out, which, that has some interesting points about it. There's a beauty in being able to give to somebody who is at the end of their life. And there's a very sacred process, I think, going on at that time. But how easy it would be to get burdened by that and to be carrying that with you all of the time. That's where the stress and that would take you down.
Yeah.
That would take you down if you weren't able to like close the door and walk away from it.
Yep.
Not unlike what a nurse would have to do, after her day job. You go home and you're done.
Yeah, you've got to do that. You've got to do that. You've got to have some kind of relief valve like that. And there are lots of things you can do. I mean, just even some quiet time to meditate, it
Yeah.
be a relief valve. So, but you've got to do that. And my last point is forgive yourself. The work of a caregiver is exhausting, often tedious and unrelenting. It can be thankless, it can be lonely. It is
Yeah.
not possible to be at the top of your game at all times.
Mhm.
So forgive yourself.
Yeah. And
And
reach out for help.
yeah, one of the hardest things for all of us, I mean, in the forgiveness is sometimes we work on forgiving others for
Yeah.
what we feel like they have done to us, but we don't forgive ourselves.
Right.
And so you need to forgive yourself
Yeah.
and just say, it's okay. you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You can't assume you're going to be good at caregiving just because you're alive or you're female or you
right.
want to.
Yeah, just because
Yeah.
you have the best of motivations.
Yeah.
And so everybody makes mistakes. You got to
Right.
forgive yourself
Right.
and say, okay, I made a mistake. I'm going to figure it out. I'll do
Yeah.
it better next time. That's the best you can do. And that's the best gift that you can give someone.
Yep. That's true.
Because if you forgive yourself, you're bringing that heartfelt energy with you. You're going to
Back to
forgive
them.
the other
Yep.
person as well.
Yeah. So they don't end up feeling bad because you're in your position taking care of them.
Right, right.
So yeah, those are very important, critical points.
So just some food for thought. And, I hope it helps to make your caregiving journey more fun.
Yes, I hope everybody that is dealing with that in their lives, that's 54% of people doing that. I hope a bunch of them get to hear this.
Yeah, I hope so
Really
too. I
helpful.
hope so
Yeah.
too, because we need the help. As
Yeah.
caregivers, we need the help.
Yes, we do. Boy, for sure.
So hopefully this has been helpful for you, and please, please, please send us any questions. We'd love to hear from you. And if you want to hear more on a particular topic, let us know. We'll share more on that topic.
Yeah, for sure. See you next week, everyone.
Next time.
Bye.